What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and today we're jumping into some more Orcs Must Die Unchained. This time we're heading into the throne room with Temper. So the throne room is sort of interesting to do with melee heroes, mainly because you have none of the luxuries of being able to pick enemies off if they manage to get through you. So your main goals are going to be looking for ways to quickly dispatch a lot of enemies, as well as to prevent them from being able to get near you in a repeatable manner. No, that's not what I wanted. Thought I clicked throne room and it looks like it just removed a trap. So I think this was the old deck that I was experimenting with here. We do not want to use haymakers. Haymakers can be okay in some situations, but in others they can actually lose you time. Now there's a way that you can use these in here specifically that makes this sort of okay, but for the most part we are going to do something like this. We're going to grab the boom barrel roller and a physical discount. We're also going to take a fire discount, some grinders, and there's really not too much else that could be really useful here, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to either take a healing well or another trap that will deal a significant amount of damage. Although you can take a spike wall here and use it for a pretty safe defense at the south area right here before you get into the temple. So I think that should work. Let's go ahead and do that. We're not going to make a ton of use of it, but what use we do make of it should be pretty good. And yeah, I think that's it. Temper doesn't need the Mage's Clover. He can't actually use anything that restores mana. So I don't think any enemies here have any sort of ability to slow or stun me. So that's not really going to make that big difference either. We can bring a friar or priest. We're going to go with the priest because there's some fire elemental stuff here. And I think that's going to be pretty much perfect. Unless we want to bring one of these. The stable hand doesn't really have any useful placements here though. But with Temper, this should be a pretty solid setup. Let's go ahead and get this started.
Please, don't make me mad. I said I don't like hitting.
One of the things that I actually do like about Temper's character is just that he seems to not want to be angry, but he is.
Watch out for this.
So he's like, I don't need to place that there yet. Seems like one of those people that needs to go to anger management classes, but really just doesn't want to hurt anybody. He's like, sort of like the way that Bruce Banner used to be whenever they would depict the Hulk. Like, he would be this guy that was really kind of soft-spoken and wasn't trying to hurt anybody.
I always like making trap parts, not so much using them though.
Stayed away from most people just to make sure that they would be okay. And of course, you know, he still wound up in situations where he would have to do a whole lot of fighting. Alright, we're going to have to let them bash this gate in. We can't break it ourselves. And then, because we blocked that side over there, they're going to start pathing over here. And that's when we're going to start to set up all of the shenanigans. I don't believe there's a way you can actually place any boom barrel rollers there. You could probably get some on the sidewalls here, but they're not really too useful there. The good thing about Temper when dealing with these guys is after you get enough rage to actually get a couple of ground slams going, the fire actually helps out quite a lot. And for the fact that these guys are all pretty small, he can sort of knock a small group of them back with his hammer toss, and that works pretty well. Okay. Oh, here's where we get to the fun bits.
Let the trap do the killing, so I don't have to. This will protect our rift.
Alright, we're gonna have to save up some coin for the second gate there, but these guys are basically all going to get roasted. And I am going to take... Actually, I don't need seeing red too much here. Not too many heavy enemies are going to come out that I'm trying to stun. So Anger Loves Company should be alright if we actually decide to start exploding. And that actually wouldn't be a problem right here. Temper gets a huge damage boost to his primary attacks while he is under the effects of his Rage of the Forge. So that is something that you definitely want to pay attention to and make the most of.
Like this here spot.
Alright, so no reason to split this yet.
Gotta keep the rib safe. That looks like it could hurt somebody.
And we could probably back this up all the way over here. I don't really want to though. And let's do it.
No one gets hurt.
Nope, we should move it up. Alright. There we go then. We're eventually going to place another barricade here.
Our enemies are breaking through elsewhere.
And you do have to be careful. This map does have what looks like a good amount of time, but because of some issues with just the pathing from the top of the mountain, or the map, it can take quite a bit of time to actually get to a place where you can fight them. So many enemies died at once from the burning effects of the fire that he just regenerated all of his life. Really bad for me, but not the worst thing that could happen. Alright. He wants to come back, he wants to come back. Now you want to save your slam to deal damage to any sort of heavy units or bosses if they happen to show up. Was he just like literally trying to go around me so that I couldn't hit all of them at once? If you happen to get in a tough situation in a fight, you can just choose to back away slowly and use Happy Place to regenerate a bit of your health. Should work pretty well. We can actually drop those there too. Now, remember I said that the hammer will sort of allow you to knock these guys back. Something that you kind of want to make sure you're paying attention to. I'm going to take Rage Machine because when you create narrow situations like this with Temper, it actually gives you the ability to control quite a bit of stuff. It also makes it so that it's a lot easier for him to make use of his Bull Rush. And we can do stuff like this. Now, of course, what we're going to do here they must have got hit while I was stepping on them. That's okay. An archer. Not for long. I think the soldiers actually lose their steady ability if they lose their footing. So it's a good idea if you can do any knockups or anything similar to that, that you get those in there too. And that should be pretty much everything there. Alright, those particular unstable rift locations are bad for you. There's no defenses that we have over there, and I don't have BGH Ballista. so I can't set anything up that would be able to take them out on their own. If you have extra rage, always use happy place to move around. You will get it back.
Well done.
So it's not actually that precious. Also, it gives you a very consistent health regain mechanic. As long as you're in combat, you have the ability to regain some health at some point. That's also partially why Rage Machine is such an important trait for Temper, mainly because it basically allows you to bank health points, and Temper doesn't have the most HP in the game, but what HP he does have can basically be made that much more amazing. We're just gonna slam that. I should mention, since Rage is a special mechanic, he actually gains or has a cost reduction to any gear that requires any sort of resource. If it would take mana, I believe it costs about 60% less than the normal amount. Yeah. He only requires 8 mana to cast that, or 8 rage, rather than the normal amount, which would be much, much higher.
Like this here spot. They've destroyed our barricades.
We're okay with that.
Trap, everywhere, trap.
So nothing will ever actually get through here easily. One of the things that we need to do is that. And because that's not destroyed, it actually is just going to regrow. Because of course we're using wall building PhD. We have enough coin to just replace this. And that's just to make sure the enemies hug the wall. Of course, after we do that, we'll need to hop over here to make sure we take these soldiers out. The Pride Hunters we really don't care about. It's these guys that will eventually cause us problems. If you do manage to place a Guardian down there, he should be able to pick off some of them, but you don't want to count on him to basically secure the bottom. Alright, we got a lot of guys here. Whoops. Not the button I wanted to push. Alright. Definitely get to let our traps do a lot more work here. And now I think we start getting to the interesting parts.
Our barricades are under attack. They've destroyed our barricades.
Not that big a deal. As long as you don't let them get this first barricade over here, you really won't lose too much. And I'm already banking a ton of coin. Of course, with all the ballista in here, we'll basically be okay no matter what.
That looks like it could hurt somebody. Feeling my hopes now.
Alright, because I'm using fire traps, set it off, or set off, not set it off. Set off is really not that useful for me. So I'm going to grab Hammered. If you happen to be using anything such as floor spikes, or basically any floor trap that isn't just floor scorcher, set off actually becomes very, very powerful. Because you can set off about a 3x3 group of traps repeatedly, and those all increase the power of your slam, which is already his most powerful move by far. Okay, so now we're about to lose another barricade.
Our barricades are under attack. They've destroyed our barricades.
We might lose the first one here, but this is pretty much just all fire elementals, so not losing barricades when you're fighting over them is next to impossible. And there they go. They're not actually going to get anywhere though. And there's another situation where we have a unstable rift and we didn't get a notification, or at least I didn't hear one. Not sure if that was just me or what. Alright, and then here we have an Urza, and this Urza is going to try to basically do the exact same thing, blow up all of my barricades. Now again, like I said, you need to heal, just happy place and back out of combat. Yeah, destroyed. Alright, they didn't actually manage to blow it up. Let's see if we can keep these guys from getting close enough. Nope, that last one is going to go over there and blow it up. Of course. Alright. And we need to get back down to the bottom since most of our traps aren't really going to work out too much.
I hope no one gets hurt.
So let's speed around to the left side. The slow traps that we set up should actually have helped us out quite a bit here. The main thing you want to care about here are the earth elementals. If you can get them, everybody else is pretty much a cakewalk. And that was me pretty much eating a fireball from the fire mages. I mean, Temper doesn't have a lot of HP, but that's a significant amount of HP compared to pretty much any ranged hero. And there you can see just how strong that hammer slam is. Probably overall one of the best moves in the game for a melee hero to have. Nearly wrecks most heavy enemies. And I'm not even at battle level 10, which is halfway through the leveling system in the game. Now, the 4th tier for Temper's upgrades is actually really interesting. Explosion of Anger gives you more damage if you are using your explosion to deal with crowds. Not something I usually recommend, but still has its uses. Stomping Mad, if you like to bull rush a lot, is going to be really solid as you get to double the damage dealt to all the enemies that you bull rush. This map is particularly tiny, so bull rushing really not going to be a big deal. Happier Place, on the other hand, allows you to heal more often and move around more. So if you guys don't know how I feel about mobility skills yet, always get them. They're rarely, if ever, a letdown. Alright, where are you going? Okay, successfully stomped. And I'm not sure if we'll have enough time for the final wave. I probably could have dropped the iron, the spike walls for a Spitfire and done a bit better here. So don't believe a minute and 15 seconds is enough to deal with the final wave here. I could be wrong, but I'm usually pretty good at eyeballing those times. Hard to see what I'm doing when you're fighting in these really tiny spaces. Cameras generally don't do well in places with low ceilings. Alright. Got 40 seconds to try to take out everything that is up here. Probably not going to happen, but we're going to give it the old college try. Alright, Lysander is not actually where the end of the line is here, unfortunately. Alright. If we can kill everybody that's here within the next 15 seconds, we'll be great. Nope. And I think we could have done that without the spike wall. Just using the Spitfires instead of the spike wall would have gotten us damage instead of flinging the enemies further back here. This deck was intentionally built for endless. Not really. Just come on, dude. Wasting my time. The spike wall is something that works much better for endless situations than it does for anything that you would have to deal with in survival. And that's basically why you don't see me use too many physics traps. But we'll leave this one there as a reminder to not do that. But either way, you can see that Temper actually deals a surprising amount of damage, more than you would expect him to for situations like this, especially since hero damage, at least in this situation, is going to be heavily restricted due to things like the steady ability of the soldiers. So he is not a hero whose damage you want to really underestimate, and he's pretty good at clearing out groups, although not as efficiently as heroes like Oziel. But Oziel is pretty much like literally the best in damage for the most part. And there's a few heroes that can sort of rank up there with him, but they have been tweaked, tuned, and sort of nerfed a bit over time. So is he, so I'm not sure exactly where he ranks right now. Like, he may not be absolutely the best, but he is still going to be very good. But next we'll jump into the restricted section and we will see what we can do there. I think we'll actually have a bit more fun there because there's a few places where we can set up some really nice lines, and we should be able to basically trash all of the enemies that are going to be coming down this northern conga line here. But we'll see more of that when we actually get into it. Either way, thanks for tuning in as always. I sincerely appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and feel free to let me know what you think of it in the comments. If there's anything else that you guys would like to see, feel free, and maybe it'll give me some ideas for what I want to put up Wednesday of this week. Either way, thanks again, and until next time, have a good one, folks.